Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to a Soulmate Snapshot. I think it's been a while since we've done one of these, but it felt like it was the right thing to do for today's reading. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with the story that we've been hearing. It will, of course, be a general reading for this collective. And so it's not going to resonate with everybody. It really shouldn't resonate with everyone. But if it does resonate with you, think about subscribing, maybe hit like, maybe look at some of the other videos that have been out there. So in a Soulmate Snapshot, we don't necessarily, it's kind of a very quick reading. It's not necessarily the long drawn out with the extended that I usually like to do. And honestly, I came down with this cold and I've had a little bit of a fever. And so my goal here is to continue to put things out because I feel like I feel good enough to do that, but not necessarily enough to do the whole thing. So I want to give you value. And I think if I overdo it, I won't be as good. So going ahead and getting into it, we're going to look at that energy that's happening between the two of you right now. And that's really where I want this to focus. So this is energy between the two of you. We've got that energetic backdrop that's likely to come in as well. But honestly, this is really just what's happening between the two of you right now. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Swords in the reverse. There's something here about someone not living their truth. Maybe both of you are having a little bit of, maybe it's a question. I don't know if it's exactly a question. It feels a little bit more like it's an identity question, but it's not like an identity crisis. It's more of I need to read. This is a good thing because it suggests that this quest that both of you are supposed to be on, that you're actually on it. Because this is about questioning that egoistic response. It's about kind of questioning the whole picture, but not having a lot of luck with necessarily finding the answers. So we also have the Fool that came out and the Queen of Pentacles, both in reverse. And so with the Fool, it's about not jumping into something, but it's really less about that and more about being reserved and a tendency not to jump in. And here's why. There is that lack of, not really a lack of self-worth, but a need to reinforce that self-worth. That's really what wants to come out on that one. And so, it's not, there's been a lot of in and out with them here in these last couple days, and they're seeing it. And I would say it goes beyond the last couple days. This is the Judgment card in the reverse. And typically when we've been seeing the Judgment card in the reverse, it has been often here lately. It's been about how they see a little bit more of themselves. They're a little bit more aware of what they're doing, but they're not necessarily happy with what they're seeing. Let's see what we got here. So we got the Two of Swords, which is, there's our old friend, the Two of Swords again, coming out saying that we really have some decisions to make. And it's something that, again, not necessarily a rush, but it's something to be careful of because it could be really good. That's kind of what I'm getting here. There's something where the important piece about this decision is not how quickly you make it, but how accurately. So I don't know that there's a bad direction for you. And I feel like both of you are being faced with with a decision. I don't know that there's a bad direction for you, but there's definitely one that is going to make you happier and do so more quickly. So just a little something to think about there. Then we've got the Six of Swords in the reverse. This is why it's difficult to make this decision, because it feels like the energy never really slows down. Okay, that's that. That's it for that. Yeah, your person's been, this is a very unsettled sort of energy, which honestly is kind of part of what I was feeling. When I first woke up, I was kind of like, is it unsettled or is it just me? I feel like this is unsettled. Here goes that Ace of Swords, only this time it's in the upright. So I feel like this is very hopeful. Usually the Ace of Swords is not necessarily my card of hope. But in this case, I feel like it is, because I feel like we know that there are someone's not living their truth, but this is hope toward living that truth. With the Page of Cups in the reverse, though, we see that botched apology again. So it's kind of the energy of that botched apology. There's been plenty of energy of communication coming your direction, and some kind of apology keeps coming up a lot in your readings. Sometimes it is a botched apology. So they've been thinking about you a lot, and, it's clear this round of thinking is a little different from some of the others. Okay. Yeah, we've got the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Swords. So they're really getting up in their head about it, in a way that they maybe try not to most of the time. And they are usually fairly successful with compartmentalizing, thinking about something else. There's a period in here where there's kind of this, I feel like it's that, and we get this every once in a while, that kind of existential fear that comes in, and with it comes that lack of self-trust, because it feels like there's nothing that they would be able to do to help themselves. But we also have the World card coming out in the reverse here, and it's about, okay, but it's that feeling like when you're going to sit down or you're going to lie down, but you know that there's really something in the next room that you still have to do. It's that kind of feeling. Something is not complete, something is not done, and it needs to be. It's really kind of looks like it's bugging them, looks like it's weighing on them a little bit. So that's what's in this energy right now. Like I said, it's a real unsettled sort of energy, and that is definitely that's the word that wants to come out for this. This feels very unsettled. Let's take a look at your lessons, see what's going on, see where your person is at, what's happening with your story. All right, let's see. That is an Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Even in this energy. Okay, so the Ace of Pentacles, you know how sometimes you guys get the advice to leave the door to your heart open, but not to watch to see if anyone's walking through it. And sometimes we see that your person is not prepared to walk through that door, and sometimes they'll even come up and kind of hover close to the door. They've been hovering. Yesterday, I mentioned it. I think I entitled the video about them hovering near your energy. That was either yesterday or the day before. You've got the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse here. So there's that lack of, it feels like that Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, and it's a lack of being able to manifest that self-worth. So the self-worth is there. It's about, it has like these weak spots where sometimes they just have a really hard time. And I feel like you have this a little bit too. So we know they're watching you, they're hovering energetically in a way that's kind of honestly hard to ignore. Feels like they're in the same room there with a lot of you. You know, I mean, that's something that's been coming up in the notes as well, the notes that I get from you guys. And that part doesn't really seem to be going away. If anything, it feels like it's intensifying. So I mentioned in one recent reading, you know, it seemed like you were having your own personal Mercury retrograde. And it's like, you guys, we know there are going to be further Mercury retrogrades during this year, because it goes retrograde more than once, you know, several times across the course of the year. And you guys are in between, and yet still some of that energy. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because the thing to remember about Mercury retrogrades is one of the reasons that things seem to be people returning. It's about people rectifying and reconciling things within them. The other card that came out here is the Eight of Pentacles, but it came out in the reverse. So what this tells me is this person may feel like they want to walk through this door, but they're not really feeling like they have that self-worth in line. They're not really feeling like they have that emotional self-mastery. So they're afraid of what they might say. They're afraid of what they might do. I don't know that it stops them though, because I mean, I think we've seen that in them. And sometimes it is enough to stop them, especially if the anxiety and the depression gets to take hold. But this is a different sort of feeling. This is a feeling of maybe doing it anyway. King of Wands, doing it anyway so long as they can be in control of the situation. So there's something to think about. They do have like a strong ability to come forward and do something about this, but remember, they also have that feeling of, that huge feeling of charisma. And a lot of you can feel that like as it's approaching, but this is representative of that charisma, but it's a very controlled charisma. So it's got that kind of King of Cups kind of feel to it there, along with the King of Wands. The King of Wands adds a touch of arrogance, which it's not like they have become an arrogant person so much as they just, oh, I assume this will be fine. So we know they've been thinking about you a lot. They've been getting up in their head about you, and they kind of they have these moments of clarity where all of a sudden they're feeling like, oh no, I should be able to reach out. This should be fine. And then they kind of go back and forth between feeling like they can and feeling like they can't. And so they hit send in one of those moments where they're feeling like they can. But then we've got that situation where they kind of hover by the door. So here's the Ace of Pentacles coming out in the reverse, and it's that sense of hovering by the door. This is the Ace of Pentacles that makes them feel like they can approach it. I was hoping it would feel like they could walk through it, but I also recognize that they're not necessarily healed enough to be able to come back and do a thorough reconciliation with you and then a reunion, because they need to finish the reconciliation within themselves. Now, that's not saying that some of that can't happen concurrently. So they could be working on themselves at the same time as they are working on something with you. But that is a longer path. It makes both of the paths a little bit longer. So here we have the Ten of Swords in the reverse. This one's about triggering. So this is a tough one. It's they are feeling almost triggered just by the fact that even before they talk to you, they're already starting to kind of take on a little bit of that triggering sense. So there's that feeling of, I need to reach out, and then they sit on it for a little while. They may write the note but not hit send, and then they get this moment of clarity where they go, you know what, this is going to be fine. And maybe it's got a little bit of a touch of arrogance that says, you know what, they'll be here. My person will be here ready for me, and they will accept me. And then they start to worry as they're approaching that moment where they can hit send. I don't know about this. Maybe they're not really going to accept me. It's very back and forth. Very back and forth. You know, I mean, they do a back and forth thing with you, but I would say they also do quite a back and forth thing within their own head, within their own mind. So here we have that Eight of Pentacles coming up in the upright. This is them working hard on something. So it feels a little different from that other Eight of Pentacles, which really was about emotional self-mastery. This one is about pouring themselves into something, and it's helping. So they're taking the advice that I was giving you some time ago. So basically, they've got something that they've been working really hard on. So it's an opportunity that they've taken in, or they've taken up. And so it could be a hobby. I don't feel like it's a person, but there could be people involved. So if it's a job, if it's a new job, or they've really just poured themselves into something at work, they're doing it to compartmentalize, but it's actually giving them a little bit of distance from the pain so that they can begin the healing. But we see here with the Four of Swords in the reverse, it's not quite here yet. However, with the Devil in reverse, they've also taken the pressure off nicely. So I feel like there's a lot of positivity that happens in that. With the Six of Pentacles, they still aren't prepared to treat you right. That's the one thing that makes me worry about the Six of Pentacles. It still doesn't feel like they're quite ready to treat you the way that you need to be treated. And that's why I was saying, if they're not reaching out to you and they're not trying to do the self-reconciliation at the same time as they're doing the reconciliation with you, it may be because, or it may be beneficial to you, because there is still some healing to be done. And I don't think you're going to get the treatment that you're looking for, but that's what we've seen. We've seen them wanting to come in. They come in with all this charisma. They really are very interested in moving toward you. And then all of a sudden they turn on a dime, give you 8 cents change, and are out the door again. You know, I mean, that's kind of been the pattern that we have seen coming up in these readings. And in some cases, we've seen it play out with you. So, I see the Lovers card here. This is really about the bond, and it's part of what is, okay, so it's both of these things that are really kind of pushing them. So we've got the Nine of Cups in the reverse and the Lovers in the upright. The Nine of Cups in the reverse refers to how they're feeling about their life right now, and the Lovers card refers to kind of what's driving them in the background. And so they've got this bond with you that kind of lends them strength, because we know that strength comes from this bond. Both of you are, there's no reason why you wouldn't be entitled to use it. It is coming from your bond. It doesn't take from one another. And they feel that that's part of what's driving them forward and also supporting them as they're moving forward. But with this Nine of Cups, we see it's also partially because they're being pushed away from something. Something that's in that third-party energy is typically what's been coming up with that Nine of Cups in the reverse, and realizing they moved towards something that they thought was going to be a great idea, but it turns out it has not panned out for them. They don't feel great about it, but your energy helps to kind of bolster them along as they move through it. Okay. So we're not going to go to the extended like I was saying. We'll pick it back up tomorrow, but I still want to do that piece, of course, where we look at you and your area of focus. These soulmate snapshots, you know, it's been a while since we've done one, but I like them because they're real quick, real simple, and just kind of get to the heart of what's happening in a day. Um, Here we have that Ten of Swords in the reverse. And so you see it over here, you see it mirrored over here. The thing to know about this is that you may have to give yourself a little bit of time to work through something. A little bit of time to work through something. And it's like, sometimes working through something is really just, it's ugly and doesn't feel very direct. Takes too long, very uncomfortable. That's the feeling of this, but it also feels like it's happening in the background. You've got the Four of Wands here. You've let something go. Usually it's the Four of Pentacles that gives me that, but with the Four of Wands, it's a matter of stability that in some way you have chosen to let go. So it's like getting into the deep end of the pool. There's a little bit of increased self-trust here that allows you to let go of the side. And so now you don't have the stability of holding on to the side, but you're also swimming. Like you're actually doing it. It has that sense of you actually doing it. And you have this habit of looking over to the side or looking for help because maybe you couldn't swim before, but you're getting more aware of the fact that you really don't need the help. You can just roll over and float. Let's see what I dropped here. Oh, fell face up. So we have the Queen of Wands. Okay, so it feels like the Two of Wands, but it is the Queen of Wands. This is about not moving forward and doing things that you don't know why you're like. You need to understand why you're making the decisions that you're making. That's critical here, but it's also going to have to fit with your values. So that feeling of it, that reminded me of the Two of Wands. That's where I'm feeling like it needs to fit with your values. We've seen both you and your person working through a lot of kind of restructuring of values. Your person was working on that at the time they manifested you. They were trying to kind of take a break from that. You very much brought them back to it. But you're doing it as well. And in this case, this is really this is like advice to say, listen, as you're restructuring those values, just make sure that you're doing things for reasons that you'll be able to stand behind later. You'll still feel right about it. There is something for you to go off and do, developing some sort of wisdom. This is the Hermit. But it's coming out in reverse, saying that there's a need to go back into that thinking cave. So I think of it as like the thinking cave. It's not a literal cave, but sometimes it does involve a little bit of separation from others. There's a need to really kind of get in there, and there's, like I say, here's your new perspective that needs to be gathered or brought to you. But I get the sense, and this is the Hanged Man in reverse, I get the sense that you already have this perspective is already coming your way. It's really just a matter of letting it finish, getting all the way there, and you're ready to hear it. The resistance is low, and you're ready to make real decisions. So these are tough decisions to make. All the decisions that you've been having to make across the course of this year that we've been seeing have been about how are you going to spend your time? How are you going to spend your energy? What are you going to choose when you have competing opportunities? Which one will you choose? This Nine of Wands here in the reverse. So the Queen of Swords is saying that you're going to do a fine job with that and that you're ready to kind of start making those choices and decisions. The Nine of Wands, that's something that really kind of that helps you along your way, because it is reduced resistance. So there's this sense of resistance that we saw with your person. And it felt like it was more with your person. It comes in the form of, it's in this energy, so it comes in the form of the Fool card. Oh, we got a couple of them. Comes in the form of the Fool card, and it's like I'm disinclined to jump into something, but here I see that you're able to kind of talk yourself out of that and to say, this is fine, this is safe. If it doesn't work out, I'll come up with another plan. There's that self-trust again. But with the King of Pentacles, the thing that's holding you back is maybe a feeling of, do I deserve to go that way? Should I worry about it that much? And so it comes out feeling like, I don't know if I should use my energy on this, but what's really behind it is I don't know if I deserve this. So watch for that. Watch for something that you may back down from because you don't feel like you're worthy of it. But look for that to be buried a few layers, because I don't think that one feels like it's on the surface. Watch for fears to be coming out, getting in your way. And remember, you're less resistant overall and able to make better decisions right now. So this is a great time to be kind of opening all this up, because you're going to be better at actually seeing it. But it does, I do want to say to Wands, it does feel like it may be moving very quickly, might be moving a little too quickly, and yeah, we want this too. And it may be this is the 10 of Wands in the reverse. It may be such that you end up I don't want to say burning out, but I watch for it. Watch for that tendency to that burnout energy. Make sure that you are taking good care of yourself. You'll start to notice that if you're not taking good care of yourself, it's like the advice that I would give myself today, and the reason that I'm doing a shorter reading. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to put yourself in a position where your body kind of shuts down and won't, it's going to make you take that break. So this is about just making sure that you're taking the break and renewing your energy. It's important to renew that energy and to do things every day that help to bolster you, whether it's in a physical way or an emotional way. This is about that. This is that reminder. We've got the Queen of Wands coming out in the upright. For you, it's a very passionate sort of energy, but it's like something new and passionate has opened up in you. So I feel like it's a movement toward, and you've got better communication. It's a movement toward, oh boy, you got all kinds of interesting stuff coming out here. I think you've got a wild ride. If not today, then just kind of in general coming your direction right now. So you've got a lot of passion that's kind of building in you, just as a matter of it cycles and it's cycling up. The Knight of Cups. So this one's about communication, but it's about you making a bold communication. Does not feel like it's with your person, but it impacts that relationship somehow. Interesting. I wonder how that works. We've got, so I'll be interested to see how that works. And certainly if you guys realize that you need to make a bold, see, the thing is, it's very tied in with this relationship, but not directly related to it. So it has, when I say it's tied in, I feel like it's emotionally more tied in. Okay, so Page of Pentacles, there is still a lesson for you to be learning, but this is about being open to that lesson. It's like the Hermit in reverse. It kind of reminds me of that. There's a sense of definitely needing to, like I said, go back in that thinking cave, but also make sure that you are opening yourself up to the learning, because it could be very difficult to do that. And if you're finding that you're just having a tough time opening yourself up, it may be necessary to sit back, have a meditation, have a prayer, get back in touch with that part of yourself, because that's something that honestly needs to happen daily. So if you are, you're there saying, hey, I just did this yesterday, recognize it's kind of an ongoing thing. So there's, like I said, there's this unsettled energy that's happening today. I feel like you're here to handle it just fine, and you're prepared to handle it just fine, but it may still get a little bit, it may be a little bit, we saw that Seven of Cups come out earlier. And I feel like that is kind of the overarching feeling of the day. There are a lot of opportunities. None of them are necessarily bad, but you won't necessarily know what you're getting into as you're walking into those things. I feel like you're prepared to work through that, even though there's this tendency toward maybe I'll just hang back, And with your person, though, they are definitely in the thick of it. Like we were seeing, there's still that sense of I'm ready to move forward, and then they talk themselves out of it, and then they have a moment and they hit send anyway. And it's that kind of back and forth even within their own mind sort of energy. So that's kind of what's going on here. I will go ahead and take a break so that hopefully I can do the usual readings tomorrow, although I do love these soulmate snapshots, so I'm not going to complain about that. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll see you again in tomorrow's reading.